All right, welcome back to the internet and the subpath of my YouTube channel. As you can see, in the last 30 days, this is actually insane. $28,000 in income, almost $29,000 in, this is all business revenue. And of course, you can see my transactions here. Just ignore, Carl's Jr. multiple days in a row. We don't talk about that. So, what we are going to talk about in this video is what I would do if I had to start over again. Because, look, last 30 days, $28,000, $29,000 is not bad. But a lot of my peers that I started out with when I was 18, 19, how old was I? Maybe 20 years old, are making like an order of magnitude more, like $250,000 a month. And I could be making that if I had just not kind of made a lot of the mistakes that I made. And honestly, the funny thing is you will make mistakes, but a lot of those mistakes are kind of listening to the big channels on YouTube, because you see those videos about how to start a business when you're 18 or 20 years old and they have 100,000 views, and you go, all right, this has the most views, this must be the gospel, the truth. But really what it is it's advice distilled down for the lowest common denominator, and it's just generic, and it doesn't serve you well. I grew up watching those videos, and it didn't really help long term. At a certain point you just stop watching those videos and your life gets way better, and you go, wow, that was a complete waste of time. So anyways, what we're going to cover in this video is what I would do again. And today I went on a long rant talking about this, and I recorded it and I put it into ChatGPT, and this is not ChatGPT's opinion. All right, ChatGPT could never come up. ChatGPT wishes it could come up with something this brilliant. All right. But yeah, so let's get into it. So basically, the first thing is you have to pick something. All right. There's probably a bunch of models going around. All right. Let's see. Let's do some research here. So let's go to youtube.com and let's search up best businesses to start online 2025. This is literally verbatim something I would have searched. So we have Alex Hormozy, of course, rep the set, dude, saying you should, I don't know, what's he going to say? Learn to sell or something. Here we go. 5 best online businesses to start. Easy, boring business ideas. Let's actually click on this one, and let's just see what he's recommending. So TikTok Shop affiliate, digital drop shipping. Wow, people still... AI... What is AI? What the hell is this? High ticket closing, that's not a bad one. And then personal brand. Personal brand is not a business. What the fuck? All right, so anyways, these videos are just bullshit, but what I was thinking I would find is a list of businesses. You probably have this kind of list of businesses. And let's actually get some notes going here. All right, so here we are. The way it worked when I was starting out was... Oh, for God's sake. All right, large, and then scribbled. All right. So the way it worked when I was starting out is you had these business models, all right? And there were a few different business models that people were recommending to you. One was drop shipping. Of course, I cannot believe that this is still something that people are talking about, but, and then there was SMMA, of course, the infamous online business model. Probably also trading. I mean, who doesn't have the fantasy of just making a shitload of money, basically providing zero value to society? And then, what else? I don't know. Web design maybe is another one. And finally, we have, of course, AI automation agency. This has to be the hottest one these days. And actually, I'm going to put down here SaaS, okay? Because... when I was starting out, everyone said, don't even think about SaaS, dude. SaaS is a scam. It's so much money to start up. It's so much time. You'll never be successful. And, I just don't really think that's true. I run a $30,000 a month SaaS. So, I think I know one or two things about what's going to work and what's not. So, anyways, these are the models that you can basically do. And actually, wait, let's elaborate on this. SaaS or organic or GHL, because GHL SaaS is also a thing. If you don't know what GHL is, rip the set, bro. It's It's just a thing. All right. It's just a business model. And so what you do when you're starting out is you basically look to the videos with the most views or whatever kind of logically seems like the right thing to do. Where you might go like, okay, drop shipping. I mean, if you think about it, there's not that much, like a lot of people buy stuff on Amazon. So drop shipping's totally out. And then web design, well, you know, why don't you just build your own website? It's so easy, right? Or let's say an AI automation agency, that's saturated, bro. Same with SMMA. I guess I can't really do any of these. And the first thing you really have to get out of your head is this idea of like trying to logically pick the best business model, because that's a complete fallacy. The real thing, and this is where I'm going to get woo woo on you, and maybe it would help if I told some of my story, but basically the issue is you're not going to pick the best business model, all right? There is no best business model. And in fact, the best business model, if you can kind of say that, is a business model where you're interested in either the product or the outcome or the customers or whatever you're doing, you should be interested in that thing, okay? And I guess I'll explain, because I spent about 18 months running an SMMA, all right? And so I'll just kind of draw this out. So I ran an SMMA for 18 months, and I hated every second of it, dude. I don't think I've ever told anyone this, but there was one day where I was like cold calling. Cold calling was the only way I could get clients because I was so broke. I literally made like zero money. I never made it past like, I think the biggest month I ever did was like 6,500. Probably more like 5,000 when you take out like some of my, I literally had a job. It wasn't like a job, but I was working for another agency running their ads. And so like $5,000 was the most I ever made in a single month. And I hated it because I was cold calling, and making a sale was so fucking painful and hard. And I didn't like anything about what I was doing. I didn't like running ads. I didn't like selling. I didn't like literally any part of what I was doing. And so I remember one day I was supposed to be cold calling. That's basically like in most businesses, well, at least like service businesses, like social media marketing agency, AI automation agency, web design. Typically, what you're going to be doing, especially when you're starting out, when you don't have any money, is cold calling, or maybe cold email. But you need some way to get clients, and cold calling was that way for me. And I remember I was playing this like stupid fucking, it was like this like cookie clicker type game, like, or Make It Rain, where I might be like, this might fall on deaf ears or whatever, where you might be too young to remember those games, but they were like, you just click a bunch. It's a simple game formula. You like basically tap, and as you tap, you get more money. You can buy upgrades, and tapping has more of an effect. You get passive taps or whatever. Anyways, I was playing that game, and then like I wasn't making cold calls, and I remember I was like, bro, I'm literally working. I'm like excited about playing this game, and yet I'm not working on like this business game, and I'm not working on my actual business that I have that can make money. God, I'm such a fucking loser. Like, I literally spent like 2 years feeling like a rock bottom loser, and I just cried that day. I was like, dude, this is like, I'm such a fucking loser. Um, so anyways, what was I saying? But the point is, you cannot pick the ideal business model because it's going to involve, it's going to be shitty in some way. And basically any business model can work, because at the same time I started a social media marketing agency, I also joined a community called Agency Lab. Actually, I might be wearing my Agency Lab shirt as well. Check it out, dude. So at the same time I joined Agency Lab, and I literally had like a ton of kids who were like younger than me, just straight out of the gate, they just started crushing it. Like, I know one kid, like a year or two ago, he was already at $100,000 a month, and I was barely at like 5. I didn't have any profit to play with, and I was like, oh my god, like some people just came out the gate insanely harder. And that's really the problem. Is you might think like, oh, SMMA is saturated. It's not saturated if you're the right person to do it. That's just, it just works out for the right people. And so you just have to pick something, all right? Just pick something that you're slightly interested in. For me, at first, I picked web design. I only landed one client. It was a huge pain in the ass. And then I did like a whole days of work for like $250. It was a huge pain in the ass. And then I quit because I didn't like sitting there and building a website. And then I did a social media marketing agency. And one of the core kind of tenets to realize here, the core thing I think to realize here is that you have to bet on yourself. All right. So let's just cap this off, and we'll say basically in a red marker, just pick one. Fuck. All right. Just pick one. And just pick one. We'll make that bold. Because really, you just have to pick one model. Like I said, I started with web design, then I moved to a social media marketing agency. And, that's fine. Because basically, you get more experience as you do more things. And so the real, the fallacy is basically thinking, oh, I'm going to waste time if I pick the wrong business model. Well, the real time wasting is when you don't pick anything and you don't do anything. And you find yourself like a year later and you still don't know shit about business. And you're a fucking loser, and you literally have a job, dude, and you're fucking broke. Anyways, so we have the next thing is bet on yourself. And so this is one of those phrases that's like, I never really understood it, and I think you kind of have to draw your own meaning from it, honestly. Because the way I realized it has to be said is basically, believe in your own intuition and follow it, all right? Because one of the biggest problems that I see and that I actually experienced was during SMMA, there was this big debate between doing a social media marketing agency where you'd get clients and you run ad for them, and a SaaS, a go high level SaaS, where you would get clients and you would only charge like $200 a month and you would provide them a CRM and some other stuff on top of it. And there was this huge debate where people would go in the group and they would say, SaaS versus, agency, and like SaaS, you're not charging very much money. The goal, as Alex Hormozy says, is to charge as much money as possible, and you can't do that if you're only providing a SaaS. And, like SaaS is harder to get clients, whatever. It was just like a huge debate around that thing. And basically the common kind of intuition was just do an agency, because it's a better business model. But like I said, that, just listening to what other people say, like, I don't know, there's this thing like, learn from other people's mistakes and you'll save a bunch of time. That hasn't worked for me. I mean, maybe it'll work for you, but in my own opinion, you kind of just have to like learn, as you go. Like, you're just going to hit your head on a wall and go, oh, that makes sense. I can't do that thing, but you'll never internalize lessons just reading it in a book. Like, oh, don't do a SaaS. Okay, great. So you really, at this point, once you start a business, and even before that, probably, you just got to stop listening to other people. You got to stop, listening to like, honestly, what this means to me is you have to be confident in your own intuition and not depend on other people for confirmation. That's like that's a extremely valuable skill, is to just believe in what you actually believe. Because what I would have done, and what I did do actually, what I would have done in my SMMA is I would have started a SaaS, because what I realized was a lot of these clients, I was working with car detailers, a lot of them are broke, and a lot of them don't even have systems in place to handle like leads coming in, and they can't even afford to run ads. But if you could sell them a SaaS, especially now that AI is a thing, that would basically run ads on their behalf, generate leads, just super templated ads, that's all you need, and then actually book those leads in using a text bot, that would be way easier to get clients for, and like just so much easier to deal with, and actually way more fun to build as well, because now you can include things like a website and reputation management, and you get to like for me, that's what I was interested in, is like building systems and like doing shit with computers. And in an agency, I didn't get to do that, but with a SaaS, I would have gotten to do that. And so basically I just decided like, bro, I'm just being a pussy. I'm just looking for a way out. No, I'm going to make SMMA work. Guess what? I didn't make SMMA work. You can't just rely on willpower. So at this point, you kind of have to start to notice things. And what you'll notice, one thing I noticed, was that with web design, if I want to build a client a website, I have to go start from scratch or like find a template. Then I have to go customize every single thing. I have to like, oh, I don't like how this page is laid out. I have to create this page and do this and fill in this copy and change these images and the whole thing. It's a huge pain in the ass to build a website. But what I realized is, what if the website was just a static template and all you did was change out the text and the images, and you could actually just get AI to do that. The images, maybe you ask the client or you have some default ones, but that's really all you have to do. You just have to get images in there and text, and then bing, there's their website. And it could go from like a 12-hour process to like a half-hour process. And that means charging $2,500 for a website, now instead of making what, like $200 an hour plus revisions, so probably more like 100, now you're making like, $1,000 an hour selling a website. And that's way more valuable. Or you just lower your price and then you get way more sales. So that's one thing I realized about web design. And same thing with SMMA. I realized that opening for SaaS, and I didn't really pursue either of them. With web design, I did end up pursuing that later, and that's kind of when I started going down this path of actually like making more money. But really, like, I don't know, there's this thing, competition is for losers, and you should always try to do something different. And honestly, that's true. Like, honestly, you should just, and you probably won't have very good insights on this for a while, which is why I say you're just going to have to pick one of these things and just do it, and it's okay if you change. But eventually, you'll be doing drop shipping, and you'll realize, God, like, I don't know shit about drop shipping. All right, let's choose another. You'll be doing AI automation agency, and you'll go, geez, like a lot of these automations are so similar, or like a lot of these people don't even have a CRM. What if all I did was provide high level, but like with a bunch of kind of updates to make it a better, like, have AI in the CRM, and then bang, that's a way better kind of offer. Now I don't have to go talk with someone and learn that they have no CRM and set everything up for them. I can just have like a white labeled like offering that I just sell directly to them. And so that is what you have to do. You kind of have to find like a unique kind of proposition. Not only does it have to be unique, but it also has to resonate with what you find interesting. Okay. And so if you start dropshipping and realize that, wow, this is literally all creating creatives and running ads, and you realize that you don't like doing that, well, maybe you go do something else and you go do web design. And if you do that for a while, maybe you realize the same thing I realized, which is, websites should be just a template. And then you go design that and you realize, wow, I really like coding and building stuff, for however that ends up working. And yeah, that is really kind of the biggest factors. You have to choose, you have to be smart about it. You actually have to sell something unique, and you have to find a gap that you uniquely see. And again, I'm going to reiterate it. I'm going to beat this horse dead. The point is, you have to see this gap and go for it. Basically, bet on your own intuition. You can't like see this gap and go, oh, but other people say it's not a good idea to do this, or other people say, no, dude, fuck them, dude. Unless you want to be the most generic AI automation agency or web design agency and literally make your living on a business that makes like 20% margins and just sucks to run, and can't scale, you have to find a better way to do things. And yeah, that's really, I think, the core insight. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of taken me a while to arrive at this conclusion, but hopefully what you'll take away from this is basically, oh my gosh, my camera's lagging. Basically, I give you permission to not listen to YouTube. Honestly, the day or the week that I stopped watching videos online, because I used to watch these all the time. Even when I was running my SMA, I used to watch videos like best business model to start, best this, best that. And it was honestly just like, it just fucks your brain so hard. But when you stop watching those videos, when you stop consuming bullshit content, like, dude, just watch fucking The Office clips. That's what I do, like, all day. Or watch Top Gear or something. Watch some bullshit entertainment. Don't watch fucking business, how to do business videos from someone who's making it for the lowest common denominator. Because you have to understand, like, those videos are made to appeal to the masses. That's why they get 100, 300,000 views, like whatever this one has, 116,000 views 8 months ago, whatever. These are appealing to just basically anyone. And you know what that means is a lot of competition, a lot of people. Every time you call up a business owner, they're going to have someone call them 5 minutes earlier who said, hey, I could build you a website. That's not dude, that's going to take like a month to make one sale. And that's why it sucks so bad. But if you just find something that you uniquely like doing, then, yeah, I mean, you're basically, you're good, right? And I'll just tell you, so I basically ran an SMMA for a while, and then I realized, damn, reporting on clients sucks. Like, I'm trying to figure out if my clients are actually calling their leads, and I just don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Basically, the sales process is a complete black box. And so I just built a SaaS that plugs into High Level that helps you figure out what your sales team is doing or what your clients are doing. And yeah, I mean, no one else was doing it, and I didn't ask anyone for permission. I guess I asked a couple people if they thought it would be a good idea, kind of validating the idea. But I wasn't going on YouTube and searching, is this a good business idea, whatever. Because most people, I had only made $5,000 in a month. Usually you make a lot of money doing like a service business, then you go to SaaS. But yeah, I mean, I think like, I don't know, most people on the internet just don't know what they're talking about, including me. But I really hope what you take away from this video is that you have to bet on yourself and you have to follow your own intuition. And also, it sounds gay, but your own kind of interests and affinities for things. Because I really liked, dude, ever since I took this coding class in high school, I was like, this is the shit. And that's what I do every day, all day now. And yeah, coding is what I liked. And it was literally like, it was one of those things that was obvious since I was like 10 or 12. Like, I remember I would just play with this computer. And I'm not that guy who's like, yeah, I was playing video games and I decided I'm going to code my own video games. Because there's a million successful people who started out that way. I would just play on a computer. I didn't know what to do with it. I just liked having it in my hands and being like, technology. And what do you know? Like, I turned out to build fucking technology. And so I think you can kind of like look to your youth to figure out what you like doing. But yeah, I think that's really the most important thing is you just have to do something you're interested in. Because that was the biggest failing with my SMMA is I just didn't want it. I wasn't interested in it. I didn't want it to work. I thought I wanted it to work, but I didn't actually want to run an agency. I didn't like the idea of it. I didn't like the customers. I didn't like anything about it. But with a SaaS, I absolutely love it. And so, yeah. I mean, this is one of those things. You don't want to hear this because, like, if you're not making 30K online, you don't, it doesn't make you feel good. But I'm actually happy, which is a weird thing to say because I live at home. I don't know if you can tell, but I mean, I literally live in my mom's fucking attic, and my software has infinite problems. There's like, everything is just on fire constantly, and churn is a bit of an issue, and there's a billion different problems, but I'm happy because I get to work on this product, and it feels fucking awesome, and it doesn't hurt that I'm making 30K a month. But yeah. So anyways, hopefully this video has helped you. If it has, leave a comment below with your situation. I'd love to hear kind of, what stage you're at in your journey right now and kind of how things are going. And if you have any other questions that you want to hear, I might do an AMA at some point, so you can ask me anything. So anyways, thanks for watching.